So, hey everyone, I saw The Marvels earlier this evening, and the sequel to the 2019 hit film Captain Marvel, and also bringing in characters from some of its spin-offs as Carol Danvers, played again by Bray Larson, Kamala Khan, played by Erman Vellani, and the Photon Rambo, played by Teyonah Parris, must unite to stop up a new enemy that could threaten the entire multiverse as we know it. And with that being said, this film, directed by Nia DaCosta, who previously worked on the 2021 Candyman film, may not be my favorite installment in this franchise or genre, but it is definitely worth watching, and I still think that while the people are lowballing how much it could do, especially, I won't be spoiling everything about it. I think once you see this film, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. So, let's begin. A film runs at least an hour and 45 minutes, which technically makes it the shortest one in the franchise. However, I think I timed it a bit, and then might run a bit longer based on what I was seeing on there. It is, however, quite fast-paced, fun, and wild, and definitely understands how absurd it can get. And there is one on planet that is very musically inclined that, even though one character claims it was like fanfiction, nope. It's real, it's canon, even if it has its own reality number. I was actually checking, and as I was taking notes in my head, as I often do, to make sure, or like, again, not a huge comic reader, but I understand the world in question is one of relatively newer entries in their canon, as are some of the outfits they are showing off there. Also, even though Darben is portrayed differently than they are in the comic, it actually makes sense to me given how it's a different variant, potentially from another timeline. Right, and that's one of the consequences after the fall of the last movie, and perhaps the endgame as well. And even though you won't necessarily have had to have seen WandaVision and Secret Invasion or Miss Marvel to understand this movie, it'll help, which is something that director has admitted is a bit of a trial and error process. I definitely did vlogs on all those ones. They did a decent job of establishing, even in this movie, who these characters are and how they function, especially as it basically drops the big bombshell, which I won't go into specifics like some people in my feed did. However, I will say this. In a way, the age of mutants is upon us once again. There are admitted concerns going forward, given how, even though the strike just wrapped as this was about to come out, some people might have suggested like the stars doing like press tours and talk shows. I know it's not form promotion I typically partake in, but I know some people do. That being the case, it's affected some reductions, and I'm not sure about a $1 billion dud. I would say that there's been a lot of successful failures post-COVID, in which a film can make hundreds of million dollars worldwide and still be considered a financial disappointment, by just how much all these ones cost. In order to be really successful, they have to make double their budget back worldwide and then some. So $220 million at minimum, roughly the same amount spent on the first Avengers. I wouldn't go that far this one, but Also, from a quality perspective, I definitely enjoyed it more than The Flash, the second Shazam, and a bit more than Quantumania even, but also a bit below, at least among theatrically released films I saw that way, below Volume 3, Mutant Mayhem, and the second Spider-Verse, which, the fact that I have this metric definitely says something about how that subgenre alone has gone up, down, sideways this year. Here, I mean, there are exceptions that have proven and to be quite leggy. I mean, I'm looking at your direction, Elemental. I mean, but it's definitely gonna be an interesting year here. I mean, especially if the current state of affairs continues to the next one. They had to reshuffle the slate once again, so much so that Deadpool 3 is now the only film on the slate in this franchise for next year, with the Blade reboot, the next Captain America, and the Thunderbolt spin-off being bumped to 2025. I mean, I don't even know what it'll be then, to be honest. I mean, I do know that I'm still interested in seeing those films. I know that I'll continue to be covering this franchise. I mean, visually, it looks pretty solid, like colorful, very energetic. I mean, especially like the use of how a lot of fight scenes where they not only work the whole teleporting in between in spaces in the story, and also a lot of fights shot in one continuous shot. I mean, I'm not saying we get to the same level of quality as like the hallway fight in the first season of Daredevil, but it's still always pretty fun visual. I mean, it's always interesting to see whenever director normally known for low budget fare is given the keys to a big budget blockbuster, especially in this franchise. I will state that the ending especially is going to have some very big implications for Secret Wars and the Kang Dynasty and other productions, and as well as a potential Young Avengers film. I will say this, I don't know about full-on reboot of this continuity already after the Multiverse Saga is done, but I definitely would say like the idea of a Young Avengers movie already has my $10. So I will say this movie takes the Multiverse Saga higher, further, faster together, and I give it a solid 3.5 stars out of 4, 4.5 stars out of 5, and now onto riff on some coming attractions. So, gonna go in release order just to keep things manageable. The Hunger Games Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, November 17th. This prequel to the Hunger Games saga sees how Snow rose to power, going from a lowly urchin in Panem to the infamous despot that we are familiar with, and I'm not sure how closely the movie's going to hew to the novel. I mean, I did read it. I know the other movies made some pragmatic changes, as for story's sake, but I do think the cast I put together is quite Tyson. Like, some people are kind of up in arms over Rachel's social posts, but I'm just glad she didn't cross any picket lines personally. Yeah. So, I mean, early reception is not quite as enthusiastic as the previous ones were, but I will say this: it still looks like it'll be an easier watch once the Trolls span together. I still reiterate this, that a movie, about singing and Trolls to me would have less levity than a movie set in a little dystopia where people are frightened to death. I am that kind of person. Alright, so November 22nd, Wish, which will be a curtain closer to the year-long celebration of 100 years of Disney and their many beloved films. I mean, Holmes, I do not know about that comments that they allegedly made. I think it could be apocryphal personally. Hey, nor do I know this wizard's intentions and if he's actually going to be bringing back the classic style villain. But I am one to always be on board for like a solid Chris Pine performance. I mean, and also liking some of the early samples, some of the songs, the style. Shows how even the mouse had to adapt to getting how the animation landscape got bitten by the bug, or shall we say, the spider of the Spider-Verse films. I mean, what I call like a 2.5D kind of one, where you can tell it's CG, but the lighting, the color scheme, the movements definitely evoke the look and feel of traditional animated. I mean, what drew me towards a lot of newer ones, like how the scripts were closer like they had like in the classic and Renaissance periods as well, man. And I don't know about seeing it theatrically, but I definitely will say I'll keep an eye on this one when it comes in D+. Count on that. December 15th, Wonka, this prequel to the classic Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and its two previous film adaptations, which sees how Willy Wonka rose from a down on his luck, a drifter, to becoming the eccentric but enigmatic chocolate magnate. I mean, I think that not only Chalamet fine treading the line between both the 71 and 2005 depictions of Wonka, but also making it his own. I definitely know we can see him dance from his other works. In fact, he didn't have to audition, and he like his scratch track from high school is what got him the part. And I definitely think the cast is very well put together. I still don't have any major opinion on Hugh Grant as the one with the lofty. I personally would have cast him as one of the other rival chocolate makers like Slugworth or Prodnose or Fickelgruber, but I am in a way glad both he and his deadpan sense of humor in the movie, so I'll keep an eye on this one. Last but definitely not least, next Memorial Day, since I am recording this on Veterans Day for those observing, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which takes place chronologically after the trilogy that took place from 2011 2017 and before the original films from the 60s and 70s. Is where we see what happens after Caesar's reign, and again we're seeing not only new characters in the fold but also a turn of fan favorite once Dr. Zaius. And I am absolutely really stunned by the work that Wade is doing on these films, where I'm not looking at this screen and seeing a visual effect. I am looking at it and seeing in actual apes, especially Zaius as an orangutan there. I mean, and where I'm still interested in doing a retrospective of the entire series, not just like the previous trilogy, but all the films, including the less well-received ones, man. And even though I still have my doubts about the director doing the Zelda movie, given how I wasn't a huge fan of his other works, maybe I'll change my mind after I see this one, I also don't know if they'll cast Tom as Link either, but I do think he will make a Beetle as a show on my community tab. Anyway, that'll be all for now. I will see you very soon with some other videos, including my look at the final wave of the Boost Course Pass Mark Credit Deluxe. So, take care, everyone.